There's our rough blueprint of what the soundboard looks like. And we've been talking about strategies for counteracting the forces of the strings and come up with several ideas of what we want to do. Go ahead, you can talk about it.
So this area in here had the greatest level of distortion, and it's clear that this is also the area with the least amount of bracing. So we're thinking we're going to run a brace, a sister brace, up against this limb of the X brace to increase the overall dimension of that leg. Hopefully that will help reduce twisting. And then we're going to run another brace right along the edge of this plate to try to stiffen this part of the guitar, also to address the issue of twisting, as well as a brace here so that there's some resistance against the compressive load on the soundboard that happens in this area. Then if you look at the braces of more modern guilds, these two braces, actually all three of these braces, and this area are much beefier. There's much more material there than there is on this particular instrument. And so we're concerned that the neck of the guitar is causing that area to compress, and that's part of the reason why we can't get the strings any closer to the frets. So we want to beef up those areas as well. So we're thinking about putting an additional brace on top of here, here, and along here to increase the stiffness of that part of the instrument. And as far as sound effect,
should be pretty minimal. Up here, you typically don't think that this has any real active participation in the tone of a guitar. So structurally, it's just more important to make that strong than it is to think that it's going to adversely affect the tone. This brace may, at least in theory, stiffen the soundboard a little bit and increase the treble response, but it's a deep guitar with a mahogany back, so it's not like it's going to really kill the bass sound of the guitar. And typically people are looking for that shimmering kind of sound that you hear with higher frequencies. And as far as the brace here, I've built, I don't know, probably 50 steel string guitars where I just started out by putting a brace right there at the back of the bridge plate with the goal of trying to reduce distortion of the soundboard over time. So I don't think it's going to have any bad effect on the sound. Another thing is, like with everything else, unless you've heard the guitar both ways, you're never going to notice the difference. And the current owner of this guitar has never been able to play it because it's in such terrible condition. So he won't know whether it sounds better or worse or exactly the same.
right?
And we should also point out that we just discussed all this with the owner, and he's totally fine with making these modifications.
Right. We had originally talked about thickening the plate underneath the bridge, but we talked about it and decided that we're not really gaining that much eye dimension, the thickness from top to bottom of the brace, and really if you want to add stiffness you need the eye dimension is what really gives it its structural integrity. So if we're going to do anything, we'll run braces on top of it so that that lends stiffness there without actually creating an entirely new or full thickness plate, adding, you know, because we wouldn't get that much eye dimension. And this plate is pretty thick. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick to begin with.
Okay, this is the brace that is going to go right along the long leg of the X brace. I'm going to put some glue on the side of it to glue it up against that brace, and then glue on the little edges to glue it onto the soundboard. And then I'm also going to put a couple dabs of super glue on it. Can't really get a clamp in there to hold it in place, so I'm going to just hold it with my hand until the super glue catches, and I can move my hand around a little bit to change the pressure, because I have to get this, of course, glued both to the soundboard and to the brace that it's butting up against. So it's not going to be pretty, but it should be functional. Got anything to say, Jeff?
Now, you're not putting glue where the
Oh,
notch...
I need to do that too.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Well, then I'm glad I had something to say.
Yeah, I am too. Okay.
I knew you kept me around for some reason, other than my pretty face.
There. That looks better.
Lovelies.
Okay. So here we go. That's the mirror sliding around. I did check this with our fiber optic scope, and the fit was good. All right, everything's in place. I'm just going to hold this for a minute. I can fortunately spread out my fingers pretty much the whole length of the brace. There is the new brace glued in place. You can see the yellow glue line where it's gushing out next to the original brace. But goes right from, whoops, where the X crosses all the way to where the X terminates at the kerfing. So we'll let that sit and then do the next brace that's going to go on the back of the bridge plate.